And we are back, and we have news for you. But first, let's introduce who is in the booth. This is Jason Glatzer. I'm back with the Tower once again.
There's a new fella in seat 3.
Seat 3 is
it's
the Tower.
It's me.
And Doak Darrow Kearney, the voice, along with David Lappin, of the chip race, the award-winning chip race. I apologize for not mentioning the award-winning.
I'm totally fed up. I'm totally fed up of people coming in to my seat and talking sense.
And talking sense.
They know exactly what's happening.
But I have some big news.
What's
and
that?
those of you that didn't think that there was going to be a deal made,
right?
You were wrong.
Really?
There has been a deal. They've planned out the payouts, so each player now is going to walk home with a very nice prize of at least 217,000 euros. So you could see the chip stacks are exactly even.
Wow.
So Steven, not asking for more, wanted to flat out the payouts. Sergey proving himself worthy, and they are playing for 30,000 euros heads up.
Oof.
And the trophy and the honor of becoming the 2019 Battle of Malta main event champion.
Surprising news indeed. Evening, Dara.
Evening. How are you, sir?
Very
How was
good.
your break?
Yourself? Yeah, I've been watching on the rail. It's been awesome.
So you've watched in lifetime, but not the last half
I
hour.
was watching in lifetime, and we've just come back. I got hollowed in to. Can you do some guest commentary? And here I am.
So our main commentator, Tower, and I have been here all week. We've had a blast.
Absolutely.
But Tower was a complete gentleman. I relieved myself earlier when Bobby came in, but Tower doing the same when
the anchor man
had a few other guests.
Organised everybody coming in, and it was only right that he got to chat to everybody. So,
but you're here for the end stretch.
We are here.
Neither of us are going to get up out of our seats until the very end.
And I don't know why, and I don't know what's happened, but the rails swelled.
Wow.
Considerably. And I don't know why. I don't know where they've all come from. But the rail has swelled.
So the entire island of Malta is now railing.
Maybe they've realised that local lad Stephen Van Zadeloff has made the final 2.
The Viking.
The Vike.
And some premium hands here. We have 6 high and 7 high. And Sergey nails the hell out of this flop, but it's going to be tough for him to get any value here. Steven grabbing some chips though, but folds. I think that's for the blinds next hand.
Preparing for the blinds next hand, yep.
Oh, and did you know it's a 30-minute clock?
A 30-minute clock now.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll see some things speed up.
Yeah, that should speed things up.
It's a 30-minute clock. This is the first level at 30 minutes. And I also think, and I'm not too sure, but shouldn't the big blind ante be a small blind ante?
No, not at the Battle of Malta. And we've seen this at many other places that they're keeping the big blind ante throughout.
What's the reason?
The reason is that basically it helps speed up the play a little bit.
Right, okay.
Also makes it more action. And what I've seen actually at the Swedish Masters, something even more interesting, they did a small blind ante from the very beginning.
Ah, right.
And then they kept it at the end. And I kind of like that.
Oh.
But I do like that they kept the big blind ante throughout. It makes it so that we haven't seen a single button fold throughout this long heads-up battle.
I nearly spent this euro on exactly that. I nearly had a bet with Fraser when he said, I'll take any odds.
So we're going to give exact amounts of the deal. It was 217,167 euros for each player, and the winner will get exactly 30,000 more, 247,167 euros. So
awesome.
30,000 left to play for, and we could see stacks in, depending on what happens here with both players with ace queen, but it may not happen.
I re-raise. Yeah, I'm all in. I call. Chop it up.
You often see after a chop that does speed things up considerably.
Mm-hmm.
Players are happier to get it in. It seemed very cagey before the deal, which was understandable given how much they were paying for it. They're paying for a lot less, but still a significant chunk. Both these hands are obviously strong enough to get in pre-flop for 40 big blinds or so. So we are going to see the 3-bet.
One. Is that about 12 mil? Love how the guys have lowered it so we can see Sergey playing with his chips, and then you can see the size of the bets going in. Love that.
That's a fairly large 3-bet. That 3-bet tells me I'm willing to.
There's the all in.
There
There's
we
the all
go.
in, and we're going to get
There's
a
a
quick
call.
and
First all in and a call. Heads up. We really, really, really don't want to see any dramas.
No, not here. We want to see this heads-up battle continue and go in a different fashion.
Yeah.
Sergey has a slightly better hand because he has the ace of clubs, so he can hit a club or a spade flush and win.
Ooh. Oh.
But no.
It will be a chop no matter what happens from here, but this is our biggest pot of 110 million in chips.
Well, that's them all.
It should be about 116 million in chips,
Yeah.
but
That's them all.
Steven actually had 55 million to start the hand, so 110 million makes sense.
Yep. And the extra 7 million, he wouldn't have been eliminated if he'd have lost a hand.
Sunglasses come back on. They came off while the rundown was happening. And Steven having fun with his reel. I believe almost the entire reel has to be for Steven, being that he lives here in Malta and he's a popular figure around the poker world, especially anywhere in Europe, whether it is in the Netherlands where he's from,
Yep.
Malta where he lives, but he's an international figure. And Sergey Lisi may put his name on the map if he wins. Either way, his name is on the map now. I mean, it's a huge second place prize, even if he can't pull off the upset, because he started as a 2-1 underdog, now has the lead. And welcome back to all our viewers. Thanks for tuning back in.
Oi, oi. In fact, talking of viewers, let's have a look at Facebook. Battle of Malta webpage. Did you say it was on 888 as well?
Yes, it's on 888. It's also on so on Facebook. It's on 888. It's on MPNPT, and it's on Battle of Malta. On YouTube, we are on also Battle of Malta and 888 Poker,
Here we go.
and on Twitch we are on Battle of Malta and Thrill Poker. But we are watching the Battle of Malta chat quite a bit.
So Steven's picked up a strong hand for the second hand in a row, tens this time in the big blind. Sergey has limped the button, so Steven is always going to raise here. Tens is incredibly strong heads up.
Quite a big raise, though.
Yeah,
It's going to make it hard for Sergey here.
yeah, he's out of position, so he's gone on the bigger side. That means Sergey has to fold a lot of hands now, and this might be one of them.
They are suited.
They are suited, yeah. Yeah, there's a massive difference actually here between King 4 off and King 4 suited. So he could very well make the call here, even though it's a big raise.
Is it not just 2%?
That's what they say, but it's more the playability. It's more the
Okay.
fact that when you have a flush draw, you can continue. When you backdoors, you can continue. You just hit far more flops. But yeah, in the long run, if they got it all in pre-flop, it does only add 2%.
Mm-hmm. Nice. See, learning all the time.
So he has called. So we're going to see the flop.
Oh my.
And look
What?
at this.
Both
Look at
players getting a
this.
piece, but Steven with the top set.
Top set against bottom pair, but also the backdoor. We talked about why King 4 suited is a better call. Now, it isn't when your opponent flops top set, but at least it means he has some equity.
Yeah.
He'd be pretty much dead without the flush draw. Steven, I mean, this is a good hand to slow play, but given the way Steven plays, how aggressive he is, he's pretty much always going to bet this flop, whether he has hit it or not. Just the fact that he's hit it so strong might give him pause, but he has come out betting. He's bet super small. He's bet 2.1 million into almost 10 million.
And Sergey thinking it over. I don't know if he's thinking about raising, calling. I don't think he's thinking about folding here, but
I assume he's thinking about calling because the price is so good.
I'd like to see what he was doing with his hands.
Yeah, players tend not to raise in position as much because
He has
that
made
takes
the
away.
call.
He has made the call. He'll probably fold the turn now as he improves. So
so lucky for him, he does not improve, actually.
Yeah.
You may be thinking, oh, I bricked. That's a shame, but...
I like this check from Stephen. This is
it's
a really
sneaky.
good check. Because Stephen is going to bet this board 100% of the time on the flop. So therefore he's going to get called quite a lot. But he then has a lot of hands that have to give up on the turn.
Mm-hmm.
And now because he has such a super strong hand, he's basically mixing that hand in.
Here's an announced check.
But because Sergey has bottom pair, he's quite happy to check.
And any bet, I do think, would be enough for the hand from Stephen in the shot.
Can't imagine Sergey. I mean, if Stephen bets small here, Sergey might call. He's more likely to call on the river than on the turn, not having improved. But
Ooh,
There's Biggie.
it's about 7 million, it looks like. So about half the pot,
about
but we'll
half the
see.
pot, yeah.
Count it out. And this can go either way, actually.
Yeah, Sergey hasn't snap folded, so he's going to have a think about this.
That is a great shot of a poker player dwelling on what to do in the biggest battle of Malta. The cogs are going round. That is a great shot. It's still a 4.
Yep.
And it's still a king. Unfortunately.
Yeah, he would have folded on the turn. So Stephen might possibly extract a little bit of extra value here.
Anything can happen, though. He's reaching for chips.
Yeah, he might be going to make this call. He's really only beating a bluff, so it comes down to how often he thinks Stephen is bluffing here.
Well, he is
Reaching for
counting
the
out.
stack.
He's not counting out to raise, surely.
That would be enterprising, but
he
won't
kind
work.
of is.
So look at this. Look at this. He might be turning his made hand into a bluff.
2, 3. That's 15. That's 16. That's 17.
And watch him grab the cards now and toss them in.
So roll a
This is ballsy, but
18.
as we know, it's wrong
19.
timing. It is wrong timing, as we can see. But yep, they're going
They're
in.
coming in.
There's the bet.
Yeah, he's turning his hand into a bluff here. He's trying to get Stephen to fold a better hand than his, but a weakish hand, like a
A 10-9, maybe.
10-9, ace-8 that's hit a pair on the river.
19 mil.
Now Stephen has to do a bit of Hollywooding.
Yeah, it should just be a call, shouldn't it? Or is he? Does
There
he
is a
think?
flush on the...
There's a
potential
flush, but it's a backdoor flush, and he has
Yeah.
to think that Sergey would have bet the turn if he'd picked up equity.
Yep.
So now he's trying to figure out what kind of hand he's doing this, and can he extract value from the hands that he beats. There's a small chance, obviously, that he's behind to a flush or something weird like, well, I guess 5-7 got there as well on the which was the open ender on the flop. So
I'd be surprised if he raised here, but he's maybe thinking about that rather than... He's obviously not thinking about folding.
yeah, he doesn't have the nuts, but he has a very strong hand, so he has to evaluate if I raise and get called, how often am I going to be ahead? And that's pretty much what he's thinking about at the moment. He's moved all in. He's decided there are enough hands he's ahead of
Yep. He
that have to
just-
call.
And it was a snap fold, no wasting time.
Yeah, I like that.
Tried to make the move, didn't work.
Yeah,
Showed some heart there, though.
yeah. Sergey was just a
Bad timing.
bad timing. But I do like the fact that even though he's a very deliberate player and he's taking a long time on his actual decisions, when he has no decision, he just folded quickly.
And I don't know if we would have seen Sergey do this if they were still playing for 150,000 difference between first and second. Being that he's locked up 217,000, of course it's nicer to get the trophy and the 247,000, but it could allow you to make the moves you wouldn't normally be making. You'd be playing a little bit more conservative. Also, to take into account, the blinds are going to be going up every 30 minutes now that they made the deal, so that has to be taken into consideration. We may see Sergey not do this in the old way, and because we didn't really see Sergey really do things like this in the last 2 hours, I don't think.
Maybe the chop has freed him up in that sense. Sergey's down to 30 big blinds now, which is kind of crucial because now he can't do as much raise folding. This is typically the point at which a lot of players will start limping a lot of their range heads up. So it'll be interesting to see if he adjusts. And Steven's in a position where he can finish it with one hand.
I love the heart, though, that last hand. I mean, it didn't work out, as we mentioned, but I love the heart that Sergey's displaying since the break.
Yeah, I would have preferred if he had some sort of blockers to the kind of hands that Steven could have. But, yeah, he just decided he felt that there was a good chance Steven was bluffing with a better hand.
And we have Laura Cornelius here in the background. Hi, Laura. Hope all's well. She's done a fantastic job as a Battle Malta host all week long.
Yes. It's been good. Do we know how much we collected for the Save the Boobies? Oh, I think that's the last
Tower
time.
loves saying boobies.
I think that's the last time I'm gonna. I said that. It's great. Did it really? Yeah.
So Steven raising here to 2.6 million with the 6-4 suited. Plays well post flop.
Yeah.
But
And
the clubs he has, Sergey has a little better.
if we take it down pre-flop, that's great for us. Okay, so backdoors for both of them actually because they both have the same suit. Sergey has the much better hand because he is obviously he's ahead right now at the 9 high, but he has a flush. A gut shot to go with his backdoor flush draw. But on this kind of board, you're not going to love 9 deuce. So Steven's pre-flop aggression might win this pot for him if he fires here, but he's decided to check.
Interesting. And this changes things for both players.
Yeah, they both pick up a flush draw now. It's interesting to see now. Sergey could lead here, having picked up equity.
He also has a gut shot.
He has a gut shot. Yeah, so he has decided to bet. Steven has an interesting spot too because he's picked up equity as well. He checked the flop because he didn't want to just always c-bet this board. He's become more vulnerable then to check raises at the stack depth. But he's picked up equity now, so and it's quite a small bet. It's 1.8 million into 6.4. So
he's priced.
He's going to make the raise
Oh.
here. Yeah.
The Viking attacks.
Yeah. He's decided his hand isn't strong enough to call, but he can raise here.
It looks like over 7 million.
And he gets the snap fold from Sergey.
Let's see if it comes up. It is 7 million
And
exactly.
Going to see the customary Steven celebration. Look back to his rail.
And he has nearly a 3-1 chip edge. This is his largest lead in heads-up play. Showing why he's the Viking.
Yep. Somebody just asked, did they make a deal? The Nightbot instantly answered. Both players are now guaranteed 217,167 €. 217,167 euros. They will split the remaining and then play on for 30,000 and the amazing trophy.
It happened during the break when
Yes.
they coincidentally ended the break with the exact same stack. They decided that was worth the exact same money, and instead of playing for 150,000 heads up, they're playing for an extra 30,000 heads up, which has kind of relaxed the playing style by Sergey a little bit. But he's still in this. I mean, 30 million chips doesn't mean he's out. He has about 25 big blinds. That's plenty in heads-up play.
Yeah, if he doubles up, he moves back into the lead, so he's not out of it yet by any means. 25 bigs doesn't give him a massive amount of play now, though, so Steven will probably keep playing a pressure like he did in the last hand and just try and chip him down to the point where Sergey will be all in or fold.
So a completion and a check back from Steven. Both players with an 8 in their hand, but no 8 on the board. 2 diamonds. Sergey has a diamond. Otherwise, really nothing doing for either player here. It probably hits Sergey's range a little bit better, other than the 5 itself.
Stephen has the better hand here, but Sergey has a lot of ways to improve. He's backdoor. He'll think the 8 is good, but we can see that it isn't. But he also has backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw.
Now he's a gut shot.
He has picked up a gut shot now. We saw him bet when he picked up equity in the last hand. He might go for the same thing again.
Once again, it's tougher for him because he's shorter. And there is a big blind ante heads up, which actually makes it a little bit even more difficult for these medium stacks because
they'll lose.
It's a double blind, basically.
It's a double blind, yeah. Yeah, I've seen the heads up thing. Yeah, the bet gets through there as you'd expect because Stephen just had queen high with nothing else. I've seen it done different ways. I've seen full ante. I've seen half ante because the table is effectively short-handed, and I've also seen some heads up battles where they just dispense with the antes completely.
Yeah. Yeah, in the UK, most events are no antes heads up.
Yeah, it does kind of make sense because it's just...
yeah, because every chip's in play, isn't it? Every hand.
Yeah. So Sergey chipped back a little bit there, taking down that pot. So it's now 69 to 27 in big blind terms. Stephen on the button now.
Hand number 99 of the day.
Of the day?
Not of the day, but of the final table.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Of the day, it's a little bit more because I did start 11-handed. Or 11 players, to be more precise.
This is an interesting spot for Stephen now because Queen Jack suited is a very strong hand when your opponent is relatively short stacked. Whether it's strong enough to raise call is questionable though. So he's gone for the limp because this is actually a good hand to limp reshove. If Sergey decides to raise here, Stephen might be all in. But Sergey doesn't take the bait. We'll just check his option.
King 5-3 is the flop.
Hits the button's limp range okay. Also hits Sergey's not wanting to increase the pot range okay with the 5 and the 3. So not surprised this goes check. I won't be surprised if Stephen bets.
Stephen could bet here. There's a couple of benefits to betting. You have the best hand a lot, and if your opponent folds, as in this case he'd be folding away 26% equity, you have ways to improve on the turn. A 10 will make you open-ended. An ace or a 9 gives you a gut shot. A club gives you a flush draw. Queen or jack gives you a very strong pair. So he hasn't gone for the bet. Sergey's hand isn't strong enough to call now, so the only thing he can possibly be thinking about is a check raise bluff. But he elects for the much more sensible fold. Just give up because he has nothing here. So it looks like Stephen's strategy is to basically play small ball and just try and grind Sergey down.
To like a 10 big blind stack or something like that.
Yeah. He'll take any spot that he can. Like I think had Sergey raised there, which he might have done because his hand was so bad. Sometimes people raise the really bad hands as well as the good hands. Stephen would have shoved pre-flop.
So you don't think he'll be afraid to get it in with something like Queen Jack suited at this point, but it would be obviously much easier for him to do if Sergey was down to 10 big blinds.
Oh yeah, with 10 big blinds they're always getting it in, whether you open shove or not. But heads up Queen Jack suited is a very strong hand when the effective stack is 30 big blinds or less. And if you can be the one getting the chips in first, making the other guy fold a lot, that's pretty much what you want to do. So that's why it makes it such a good limp hand to shove over a raise, because you are going to be limping a lot of weak hands as well, so you need to have some hands that you can just shove if the guy decides he's going to always raise your limps. So Sergey presumably just going to limp this. He's still in that 25 big blind zone where he should be limping a lot of his hands. And actually he's decided to fold.
Our first walk of the heads up battle that I've seen.
Should have gambled with Fraser.
our first walk.
Damn.
Well, we still haven't seen Steven walk, his opponent, but
can't
first
imagine
walk by
Steven-
other player.
The
Yeah.
bet was a walk on the final. Excuse me.
It took more than 2 hours into the heads-up battle, though, for there to be a walk. To be fair, one every once in a while doesn't hurt. I was kind of surprised though because I did expect him, as Dara suggested, to just complete the blind.
Yeah, it's a horrible hand, but like we kind of have to call. I mean, Queen Deuce will actually be the best hand in more than half the time there. Queen High is pretty strong, but it's just very unplayable post flop. So he decided he was just going to let it go, not give himself that headache. Stephen, this is the hand hand you would normally limp, but so this will tell us whether Stephen is going for an aggressive finish it now strategy, or he's going to just try and keep grinding him down. Looks like he might be.
It looks like a raise
It
here.
does look like a raise, so he's keeping the pressure up.
I think about 3 million. Let's see. 2.6
0.6
and Jack 4 for
Jack
Sergey.
4, I can't imagine is going to call. Considering he open folded Queen Deuce in position on the last hand, I can't imagine he's going to call Jack 4 with a raise. Stephen may be picking up on the fact that Sergey seems to be over folding at the stack depth, and therefore he's going to keep raising. Sergey hasn't folded immediately, so he's thinking about something.
Pulling the chips back, that usually means that you're willing to do something, whether it's call or 3-bet. And he's counting out some chips.
Yeah.
This looks like he's counting out more than what's in there now. It looks like he might be 3-betting ambitiously.
Yeah, well, this is really not a good hand to call with, so if you're going to play the hand, you might as well 3-bet it.
And it could work because Steven just has 8-7, depending on how big the 3-bet is.
Yeah, it really depends on the 3-bet size now, because if Steven's getting an amazing price, 8-7 is a very good hand. It flops very well, but it does get through. Yeah, so slightly inconsistent play from Sergey, I have to say. He folded Queen Deuce in position, and he 3-bet Jack 4 off out of position, but
Makes him unpredictable, though.
it makes him very unpredictable, yeah. It's hard to put him on exact
it's
ranges.
More than 8 million was the 3-bet.
Right, okay, that made it impossible to call then.
So watching the heads-up battle in the Battle of Malta.
At Casino Malta.
At
At the
Casino
Intercontinental
Malta
Hotel.
in Malta.
It's a pleasure to be here. I don't know. I mean, I know what we're doing right after this ends, Tower, but I don't know what I'm going to do when this ends, let's say, tomorrow. I'm not going to be used to not being next to you.
I know.
I might start calling my wife
Cuddles
Tower.
and everything.
I think my wife might start being called Tower. She may look at me funny if I do that, though, so I'm going to try not to.
Sergey has almost the exact same hand as he had last time on the button, Queen Deuce, but this time he's suited. So let's see what he does with this one.
I'd be surprised if he folded again.
I would be too. And
Looks like he's getting aggressive again. We're going to see a raise.
yeah. Yeah, we're seeing a bit of dynamic going on here where both players are shifting gears in different spots.
Poker City on L hosting us. Thank you. If that's still Peter, thank you very
Here's
much.
2 point, yeah, and he's up against 9-3 off, so Stephen just folds. So at this stage, every pot counts, because particularly with the big blind ante, there's 2.5 big blinds out there every time. Stephen looking off to the side to his rail.
Does anybody remember Stephen without a beard?
Oh,
I do not.
I do not either. No.
No.
I mean, I knew him mostly as an online player, first. And I think when I started seeing him live, he had the beard. Did he not have a beard at some point?
I don't know.
Was
Well, obviously,
I think he was born with
I
a
don't
beard.
think he was born with one.
I think he was. The beard, the chest hair, the long ponytail.
The Viking.
Yes.
The look was there.
Just like the Marvel superhero character he is.
Can you remember what time we went heads up?
I don't remember the exact time, but it's been at least 2 hours that we're heads up.
Uh-huh.
So
I
Stephen,
should have taken note when we went heads up. Sorry, Dara.
Stephen's on the button here. He's raised with Jack 9. Sergey. The raise is smaller this time, I think, than the last one, so that allows Sergey to call more. 9-7 is the kind of hand that you typically would call with.
But Sergey's shown he can 3-bet with these kind of hands too, but he does just call.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a hand which flops pretty well now. Unfortunately for him, he's dominated in this instance, so it doesn't flop as well as it normally would, but let's see what the flop brings.
A better flop for Stephen. I mean, he didn't hit a piece of it, but his button raise,
Yeah, has a lot of ace-x and king-x,
yes.
which Sergey would 3-bet.
And I'd be surprised if this gets checked back. Stephen reaching for the chips. It looks like 2 million. Indeed it is. And Sergey should be tossing his hand away, but he could also be check raising, and the check raise would look super strong if he did. But he'd have to have a good read on Stephen
It's just
to do that.
very hard to credibly rep a really strong hand here, because most of his aces would 3-bet pre-flop, and a lot of his better kings would as well. So
A king 4 though,
king 4,
or a pair of fours.
king 4 or pair of 4s possibly, although
A
fours
pair
might
of fours when check raise.
fours
though.
might just might try to get it in pre-flop as well, because
That's true.
good raw equity, but flops pretty poorly.
So there's only one hand, then it would be king 4.
King 4 is the only real hand we'd be repping, and when we only have one strong hand, we don't really want to check raise that strong hand either. So
The pyramid now by Stephen, and the way he's stacked
Indeed.
his chips.
It looks good.
Yes.
86 million. Plays 30.
30.
Yep.
So that's down below 20 bigs.
Yeah, we've extended the lead.
Sergey goes for the first time. That means he's now into sort of reshove mode, where if his opponent raises him, he'll be looking to get all the chips in pre-flop with a lot of hands. Not 9-deuce, it has to be said.
Here
but,
comes another walk.
Yeah, this could very well be a walk. I mean, if he's going to fold, if he's going to fold queen-deuce, 9-deuce is a easy fold.
And part of that might be that the blinds went up just now.
Yeah, he's definitely getting action there from King Jack suited if he'd done anything.
Because we're not used to these, the faster blinds. It's every
Faster
30
blind,
minutes.
they're flying by now, yeah.
800,000, 1.6 million, and you can see now all of a sudden Sergey just sitting on an 18 big blind stack. Even Stephen, as the chip leader heads up, has a 53 big blind stack. And another 30 minutes from now, if they're still playing heads up, we'll be at 1 million, 2 million.
There's a very good chance we're going to see an all-in in the next 30 minutes before that happens, given the stack depth of Sergey now. And 18 big blinds, we don't want to bang on too much about the big blind ante, but the big blind ante, 18 big blinds basically means he has 7 hands before he blinds out.
Very true.
That was quick. You must be more fresh than us two.
Stephen has a terrible hand now, but he I mean, if ever there's a spot to give your opponent a walk, this is it. But Stephen, it's almost against his religion to give a walk, I think. So he has decided to just call. Sergey is probably just going to shove this hand now. That's the normal, the standard play with what it is. He has 18 big blinds now. Oh wow, he's checked. Interesting.
Deceivingly checked.
If a 3 comes, this could pay off nicely for him. But yeah, I think most players would have just. And the problem now is he's being drawn, whereas Stephen would have thrown his hand away had he shoved pre-flop.
But the ace would have been very well disguised. If we were going back to, let's say, that
Yeah,
ace
yeah.
king 4 board,
For
then
sure.
there are some now aces that we know of in Sergey's range, and an ace 4 may have done the same thing as an ace 3 here.
Yeah.
Check, check.
Yeah, Steven's taking. Oh, this is 2 pair now for Steven. Sergey probably won't go mental because he just has a very weak bottom pair. Well, he has the best bottom pair, but on this board, bottom pair is particularly weak. And Steven has to bet now.
Yes.
So Steven counting out a bet.
2 mil.
It's a small-ish bet because he doesn't think his opponent has very much.
And it's going to be tough for Sergey to call, even though he hit a piece on the turn.
Yeah.
Even though it is small, but he may just try to evaluate on the river, I guess.
I don't think he can fold here, given the price he's getting and the fact he has a pair. Because otherwise, Steven could literally bet any 2 cards on the turn, and most of the time won't have a pair. Jack could get him into trouble too, because neither of them really should have a jack. So whoever was ahead on the turn is going to be ahead on the river. But it might slow Steven down because Steven's now being counterfeited.
Yeah, there's some 9s that Sergey may have. Very few jacks.
Yeah, it's much harder to get paid now. Steven's thinking about it. He's trying to think what worse hands can pay me. He's decided there are none, so he's just checked behind.
That saved him, he says.
Yeah.
That saved you.
But Steven now has 91 million in chips. That's the most he's had the entire tournament.
And Sergey is down to 26, which is, if my quick maths is correct, about 16 big blinds.
Nearly a 4-1 edge now. Not quite, 3.5 to 1 edge by the Viking, Steven van Zettelhoff. And we were asking when the deal has been made. The deal was made at the break when stacks were perfectly even, and they agreed to just flatten it out, 217,000 and change a peach each, and another 30,000 for the winner. Before that, it was 158,000 for second and 306,000 for first. You can't blame Steven, even if he thinks he has an edge, for flattening out the structure.
No.
I'm sure he'll be more than happy with the €250,000 if he wins this. And even if he doesn't, then he'll even be happier that he made the deal.
Sergey is probably going to limp this hand. He's down to 16 big blinds now, so he doesn't want to be doing much raise. Wow, we just folded. Yeah, I mean, Sergey is definitely over-folding at the stack depth if he's folding these types of hands.
It's only his second fold, though, but yes, it's we haven't seen so much at the stack depth, though.
Yeah.
But it's a small sample size as of now.
Yeah.
The tower's running. The sprint by Tower. We don't know where he's going, but he just sprinted out of the booth.
Yeah, he may be gone to the bathroom.
Yes, I've never seen the Tower run so fast.
Me neither. Impressive. Steven, 6-3 suited on the button.
Do you think he completes or you think he raises?
He completes, or very occasionally he might shove, but yeah.
It is a completion, and Sergey waking up with ace-3.
Sergey definitely has to shove now. He can't keep up the strategy of allowing his opponent to see, and I think he has moved all in. Yeah, it's a good play from Sergey, and this will get the quick fold.
Doak approved.
Yeah, it's really important to play your hand, even hands which don't look great, like ace-3, aggressively when you're this short. Because you have the best hand most of the time, and you just have to deny equity to your opponent. You can't allow him to see a flop in position.
It's looking more and more likely that the Viking, though, is going to win this.
Yeah. The Viking knows this sort of situation like the back of his hand. He's not going to make a mistake.
And you can hear the table noise. Maybe I turn it down a little bit, but just in case the players talk to each other, it'd be nice to hear. But the rail has gotten very big.
Yep.
That is all background noise.
It's good to hear the atmosphere there. Sergey might fold this too. He's been folding a lot of hands on the button. This is a particularly weak hand as well.
So Poker City, that trophy was made for a Viking for sure. If Sergey wins, he shall become a Viking. So not the Viking, but a Viking. An honorary Viking. He will have to grow a beard, though. Yeah.
I run like a proper dad.
We've never seen you move so fast before, Tower.
Oh, I run like a proper dad, me.
Stephen might shove this hand, or he might to raise it to call a shove. Yeah, he has shoved. This is a standard play here. I mean, again, Sergey's. I don't want to beat up on him too much, but he's being a little bit inconsistent here. Last hand, he folded a much stronger hand than 4-3. This time, he decided not to fold.
I mean, we loved your heart, Sergey. I mean, you played very well, especially up until the deal has been made. Maybe the fact you're more relaxed, that you're playing for less money, and that you've locked up a huge sum of 217,000 euros, something I'd be very happy to win.
He's still in.
Yeah, he's still in, but the play now is a little bit more inconsistent than it was before, that Dara was pointing out. But
Yeah.
It's also possible he's just not used to playing at this stack depth as much. I don't know what his background is. Cash game players tend not to play these stack depths very much, and can often not really know what to do in these spots. Whereas tournament players, it's their bread and butter playing.
The final
20
table, the
big
one
blinds or
drop
less.
in Sochi, in the World Series Europe.
So he has got some tournament expertise.
He has, yeah. He's not behind the ears.
And Stephen is
So-
called. Sergey has 14 big blinds now.
Jack 8 suited is a very pretty hand
It's
when
a
you're
very
heads up.
pretty hand. He could check this, or he could just shove it. He has decided to go for the check. That's definitely the safer of the two options.
Would you recommend for a cash game player in order to practice to play, let's say, lots of sitting goods? But never mind, we can answer that question
Oh,
later.
wow, look at
Sergey
this.
flopping the 2 pair.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard for him to get paid here. Stephen has absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
He could check, though, and hope that the Viking
Yeah, I think
reps that he has the kings,
I think you have
because
to
he
check
has been.
here. Yeah. Stephen might take one stab at this, but Stephen has absolutely nothing.
He smelled something here.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen checked behind in a similar spot earlier. Often people think that aggressive players will always fire off, but if you do that, you're too easy to play against because you most of the time have nothing. So you're easily trapped when the guy flops something, and you can be check raised a lot when your opponent has nothing.
But
So
his timing on it's been impeccable. Like it seems like when he has been checking, it's been the spots where it's been good to, and when he hasn't been, when he's been betting his opponent off a better hand. Now Sergey checking again. He was counterfeited, but still disguising his hand. Stephen making a cheeky stab at it.
yeah, a lot of your timing often comes down to just selecting good hands. You don't want to bet every hand. So if you just check the hands that have absolutely nothing, and bet hands that can improve in some way on the turn, that keeps your frequency down. And I think that's what Stephen's doing. Anytime he's got sort of backdoor equity, he's betting or immediate equity. But when he has absolutely nothing, he's being disciplined and not auto C betting.
Sergey likely thinks he is good here. He could be up against better jacks. He's probably not afraid of the king. Let's see if he tries to extract his value here, hoping that some 8s will call, though he's blocking that. I think because he's blocking some of the other hands that would have value. Well, there he goes and bets. I was going to say he's going to check and hope Stephen bets again on the river, but that kind of ended that.
Yeah, Stephen took one stab there after his opponent checked twice with a no equity hand.
And you don't think he would ever take a second stab?
He would on some rivers, but I don't think that river. Again, this is a misconception a lot of people have about really aggressive players. They think they just bet in every spot. But again, if you're up against somebody like that, that's not a good aggressive player. That's a maniac. And maniacs are actually very easy to play against.
He's a Viking, not a maniac.
Yeah. He's a good thinking loose aggressive player.
So 30 big blinds and 27 mil.
Less than 30. It's 1.6 million for the big blind.
Oh, is it 1.6? Oh, that's
Yes.
my fault. I'm looking at the 800 thinking, yeah, I can work that one out.
This is what happens when we have Tower on the rail for a little while. We need Tower in here 24/7.
So call from Sergey, and Stephen decides he doesn't want to raise Queen 9. It's a hand which flops pretty well. This is a hard board to hit now, so... And Sergey does have a backdoor, does have some backdoors, flushes and straights, so he might elect to bet this as a bluff.
Sergey's going to have to do something soon. We're about halfway through, I think, this blind level, and then it goes up to 1 million, 2 million.
Yeah, he's going to bet here. He's basically betting because he has backdoors, and he has the stronger range pre-flop.
I think it's more about the latter than the former, like that it's a stronger range pre-flop. I guess the backdoors don't hurt, but I don't...
The backdoors don't hurt because if you bet a hand that has absolutely no backdoor, then you're going to have to give up on almost every turn.
I'm guessing if you worked it out, the blinds at 150, 300,000 will be the last level.
1 million, 1.5 million, 3 million?
Because they'd have
Roughly 40 bigs in
they'd
play,
have
yeah.
20 bigs each.
Yeah,
I think
that's,
if it
that's
was
normally the level.
1
yeah.
hour levels, we wouldn't see it get that far, but at half hour it certainly can happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we were 1 hour blind levels since day 2, but since they made the deal, I'm not sure if it was a rule of the battle in Malta. Once the deal is made, a lot of festivals do that. Once the deal is made, the blind level was cut in half. It's also possible both players say, now that we made a deal, we'd like to have 30-minute blinds, and usually the tournament director would oblige for that as well. But I have a feeling it was the former rather than the latter, but rather not speculate further unless we knew that as 100% fact.
So Stephen with Jack 5 on the button. This is the kind of hand you would normally just limp at this stack depth. He's having to think about it though. He might go for a raise here. Yeah, he has. I
Whoa.
know it's a big raise as well.
4 million.
Yeah.
And this could be the spot that Sergey says, I'm getting it in, getting 4 million back.
Sergey has to go all in there. There's 7.2 million out there. If he shoves and gets it through, he adds 25% to his stack.
A bit of bad timing here by Steven, although it's not like the worst mistake in the world either, but...
Yeah.
And it's not as big a raise, actually, I've come to think of it, because it's now 800,000, 1.6 million, so it is only a 2.5x. That just seemed bigger, because we haven't seen a raise to 4 million.
I think it was a 4x, was it?
All in, snap fold.
Yeah, snap fold.
Love it.
Easy decision for Stephen. No need to think. Yeah, Stephen raised bigger there to try and put pressure on because he had a hand obviously which he wanted to take it down with pre-flop. Didn't work out for him because he ran into a hand, which is the downside to that strategy of going big with a weak hand. You just lose more when your opponent actually has something.
So while we're waiting for Steven to get back at the table, who are you going to have on the chip race next, Dara?
Next week... Oh, God, I've forgotten already.
Is it the Tower?
It's not.
The Tower is definitely going to be on at some point. But in the immediate show, I know we have Vicky Corrin coming up, not this week, but the following week.
The only woman to win an EPT twice.
The only person to win an EPT twice, yeah.
The only person.
The first woman to win an EPT, and yeah, still the only double EPT winner.
I asked her once what she did with the first EPT win.
Can you give us a teaser as far as what she's up to? Is she still playing any poker?
She says I bought half a castle.
Castle.
Yeah, I don't know which one.
Did she buy the other half when she won the second EPT?
I don't know. I asked her outright. I says, "What did you do with the money?"
Yeah, she doesn't really play very much poker anymore, apart from the occasional charity game. She seems to be very sad to be out of poker. She said she imagined that it was something she would do for all of her life.
I think she still turns up at a home game.
She still has a home game, and she did exclusively reveal that she's raising the stakes from 10 pence 25 to 25 pence 50, but it's meeting with some resistance from people in the home game.
She wants to break Channing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good old Vicky Corrin, the only person to win an EPT twice.
I would love to see her back on the big stage again, though.
So would I,
She's been a pleasure, true
Family
ambassador
now,
to the
though.
game.
See, married in a family.
She had married. In fact, when we interviewed her, we were told she had to leave at exactly 12 because her daughter had a play date, which she was bringing her to.
Brilliant.
But yeah, that's an interview we've been chasing for a long time.
Yeah, I can
because
imagine.
obviously Vicky doesn't do much poker stuff anymore since she's not that much in the poker world. But we were very happy that she finally agreed to talk to us.
That's awesome.
I will have to listen to that. I've been a fan of hers for many, many, many years, and was curious what she's up to.
Yeah.
Did you ask her the tough questions or the nice questions? Usually David's asking the tough questions, so I imagine there's some tough ones in there.
We did a section at the end that she struggled with. I won't spoil it completely. You'll have to tune into the show. And
Okay.
David did ask those questions, but no, she's so charming in person. I mean, you couldn't be anything other than nice to Vicky.
You asked me some tough questions when I was on, but I had to say you guys were very nice and allowed me some time to think about the questions a little bit and understood. Let's say there was a question or two that I couldn't actually answer for conflict of interest reasons, et cetera, et cetera. So you guys are tough but fair. That's how I look
Yeah,
at you.
we never really. We never set out to gotcha a guest or anything like that, and we do always give guests the opportunity to object to anything that's in the show before it goes out. It's not a live show. David edits it very strongly, so we always tell the guests if there is anything you say that you regret afterwards, just tell us and we'll take it out. So the interviews that go out have the approval of the guests generally.
But there is a chip race with me with Jackson.
Who else was on your show? I don't remember.
That's a good question. It was so long ago already. This is going back more than 2 years. And I've listened to so many of the chip race that now it's blending all in.
Yeah, we can never remember which show is which either. In the meantime, we do have an all in here. All in? No, sorry,
Yeah,
not an all in.
Yeah, it was
big
a big bet.
Big bet on the river.
That's 7 mil.
Called.
And David keeps telling me that we need to think of a topic for me to come back on, but I'm so non-controversial that it's maybe I'm not all that interesting for the chip race.
Doesn't necessarily have to be a controversial topic. I mean, we do
Ask him about the Jets.
the Jets.
Yeah, he's a big Jets
That's
fan.
controversial, but it wouldn't be
NFL,
too
that is-
interesting
yeah.
to the chip race.
That is proper
That'd
controversy.
be for
Yeah.
a different podcast.
Yeah, you might need to go on David Tuckman's
Just
podcast for that. Actually, David Tuckman is a forthcoming guest as well. I just remembered.
Cool.
He's on this week's show.
Just ask him which
Love David. He's a
which
very good
N-
moderator.
which
He's a very
N-
good commentator.
which NFL team was the last team to get shut out in a game. Yeah, just ask him.
Wait a couple weeks for
Just-
that, please.
Just ask him that.
Yeah, wait 2-3 weeks, please.
Yeah, it was last night.
Yeah. I haven't even looked. I felt bad asking Tower. Well, what was the score? It wasn't like that the Jets went, but how bad was it? It was bad. The Jets didn't put up any points.
No, we are heads up for the title of Battle of Malta. It has been an amazing event from top to bottom, from the first person that walked through the door into the casino last week to right now with a 3-hour heads-up battle going on. It is and has been just an outstanding event, and thanks to everybody who's contributed in the comms box for us.
Look what Donna linked in here. She linked. How did she do that so fast? She linked in the episode that I was on.
Oh, well, there you
Oh,
go.
And
that's
Phil Locke.
amazing.
Phil Locke is somebody I've played in home games with. Jari is someone I probably that I've been on her Twitch channel before. She isn't doing poker on her Twitch channel, but she's doing some gaming, occasional body painting. And Sko, another e-gamer.
Yep.
Part of the Unibet e-gaming ambassador program. I'm not quite sure how to phrase that, but they do come to a lot of the Unibet Opens and play in the e-gaming sit and go.
So in the meantime, we have a hand going on here. Two pretty weak hands, but they both have a pair. Sergey gets the check mark there. His 6 is good. He
It's
bet
such
the
a
flop.
wet
He's
board.
decided to check the turn. Stephen checks behind with his showdown and gets the bad news that he's lost the hand.
I don't blame Sergey for betting the turn and river. Any spade, any 4, you bet. You can actually be folding the best hand. If Steven smells weakness, you can pot control it a little bit better. And if Steven bets the river, you can call a lot of the time for
Yeah,
value.
it's a decent bluff catcher, yeah.
So, Dara, how does it feel to be like in a Tower Jackson sandwich for this long?
Wonderful.
You're not uncomfortable at all?
Not in the slightest bit uncomfortable.
Thankfully.
So Sergey now has clawed his way back up to over 20 big blinds, which means he has a little bit more play. 9-5 suited, nice hand on the button.
And Sergey settled down a little bit. You know, it seemed like since the deal was made, you know, he lost a bunch of chips, and now he's been holding steady, climbing back up a little bit. It doesn't look like it's going to be as easy as the Viking would have liked. When he had the momentum, maybe he would have liked it to be over already.
Yeah.
And as Tower pointed out earlier, if Sergey doubles up at any given point, he will have the chip lead, in fact.
It's a battle, all right.
So we had a raise there from Sergey. He's over 20 big blinds again, which means he can start raising a lot more hands. Stephen had just a really bad hand, 6 deuce off, so elected to let it go. So another win for Sergey. Gets him further clear of 20 big blinds. Clawing his way back into this.
I imagine if the Viking wins this, he may be a potential guest on the chip race in the future.
Potential repeat guest. He has been on
Yes.
before already.
You can ask him about some of the hands. He could be actually a strategy guest for
Yeah,
a
we
change
have
of
we
pace.
we do bring guys back on for strategy. We had interviewed Jack Sinclair and we brought him back on for a crucial hand from his WSOP main event. And certainly it'd be very interesting to talk strategy with Stephen.
Stephen with a premium here, ace 10. We've seen him complete. We've seen him raise with these kind of hands. We haven't seen him fold the button on any hand, but he wouldn't be doing it certainly here if he did have a fold range.
Yeah, this is not a hand that would go in anybody's folding range. He's just trying to decide between raising or limping.
Or maybe the sizing of his raise, because he's grabbed a whole chunk of
He
chips
has
there.
been mixing up his sizings, yeah. He did use a bigger sizing before and fold to a shove, so he might repeat that to indicate he has weakness. And yeah, he's gone quite a big sizing here.
Almost 2.5.
Almost 2.5, which might not sound big, but it is pretty big heads up at the stack depth. He's hoping to induce Sergey into a shove.
So Linus asking how the pot can be so big with the blinds being 800,000, 1.6 million. And in some events, such as this one, the big blind ante stays throughout, and other times the big blind ante goes away when they're heads up. Other times the big blind ante is halved at a certain number of players. So the big blind's not only putting up their blind, but they're also putting up a full ante. And if you multiply the big blind by 2, add in the small blind, and there comes your 4 million.
And while we're waiting for the next hand, you did ask who was on the chippers this week. The show isn't out yet. I think it's probably coming on Wednesday. We have Brian Paris,
B. Paris.
WPT 500 champion Jack Hardcastle.
He's a hero.
In the strategy segment, we have Tom Hall, or Jabbercada as he's known online. And in the topical section, we have Pocket Five's editor-in-chief, Lance Bradley.
I've done comms with Jack back in Tallinn in January for the MPMPT. He was a guest comms and just decided to stay the entire final day, kind of like how we've had you most of the final day, Dara.
Indeed. Yep, Jack likes to talk, so that doesn't surprise me at all. We
He's
hung out with
very
Jack in
good.
Brighton recently, lovely guy. It was actually just before his win in Nottingham. So, limp on the button here, terrible hand, but we don't want to be folding too many hands on the button. He's got over 20 big blinds, so he's going to limp most of his hands. Stephen, however, has a very strong hand, heads up, so he's
all in.
all in. Yeah, that's big. That's a function of the stack size.
It's still a 20 big blind. I guess it's, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, well, if
20
he
bigs is
if he
still
three
good.
bets it gets shoved on, he's going to have to call. So he might as well get the chips in first. It's one of those spots where the hand is too strong to three bet and then fold, but you don't really want to three bet and call either. So you just shove the chips in first.
I have a funny story about Jack, but I can't tell it on the stream. But you have to
I think
remind me
there are a
later.
lot of funny stories about Jack that can't be told
But
on any stream.
we wound up on the same flight from Tallinn to London, and our flight was delayed. And let's just say there was a little bit of a impromptu party in the Tallinn airport.
So Stephen on the button with Queen 4 offsuit, and most players will limp in this spot, but Stephen has shown a willingness to raise these type of hands. In this occasion, he has gone for the limp. Sergey is presumably just going to check this hand.
He has been moving faster, Sergey, but not right this moment.
Yeah, he's quite deliberate. I mean, that's fine. He's taking his time over every decision, because we can see when he doesn't have a close decision, he's quite happy to act fast. But in this case, he can think about raising. Sometimes, if you wait a while, you'll get a read on your opponent as well. Maybe he has picked up the Stephen is weak this time.
Biggish raise.
Yeah,
And a win.
and he wins. I mean, he did have the best hand. Or sorry, he didn't have the best hand, but he did pick up on the fact that Stephen had a hand which couldn't call.
So we're near 3 hours heads up.
This
This is a battle of Malta.
has been an epic heads-up battle.
It has indeed.
And we have a dealer change. Does that mean it's going to be a bomb pot? Or they don't do that in heads up, only in cash games?
Nah.
So you can see the stacks there. Stephen's still with more than a 2-1 chip lead.
1 mil, 2 mil.
And the blinds are gone up, I guess,
Yeah,
again.
they just went up.
Yeah. So now that moves Sergey back down below 20 big blinds again.
And it's 5 million in every pot before we get started, between the 2 million big blind, 2
Yeah.
million ante by the big blind, and the 1 million small blind.
Yeah. Yeah, he's back in that spot now where he doesn't have as much play because he has less than 20 bigs.
Viking enjoying his rail there. You could tell he's having a good time, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't be enjoying the fact that they've already won 217,000 euros, I suppose, and having all your fans back there. We could see their feet. We can hear them. And let's see what Sergey has. 9-2 suited. Looking down at his chips. Well, looking back at his cards.
Yeah, again, once you drop below 17 big blinds, you don't want to be raise folding too much. So you're going to see him limping a lot of hands like this. But he's actually decided just to let this one go completely.
And if you're going to let some hands go completely, even though it's suited, 9-2 isn't the worst one. You know, if you have a range that you're just going to get rid of, that you don't want to play out of position. Stephen doesn't have that range, obviously.
Stephen, we haven't seen a single fold yet from the button.
So we get another look at that massive trophy. If Stephen wins it, it's just going somewhere else in Malta. He lives here, even though he is from the Netherlands. Sergey is from Moldova and lives in Sochi. And I think he needs to be careful how he would package that trophy if he was traveling
We
to
just
Sochi
said we
with
hadn't
it.
seen any Stephen folds. We finally saw one.
Wow.
8 deuce off. 8 deuce off with his opponent with 15 big blinds. He decided, my opponent is just going to shove too much. I'm not even going to put a chip into this pot.
So it took about 3 hours of heads-up play before Stephen found a fold.
Yep.
Tower went on a little scouting mission.
Yeah, just to the rail has got bigger. It's really nice. It's good for the players.
Yeah.
We were talking about that earlier. This is one of the only sport, if you classed it as a sport, where the fans get less as you get close to the champion.
To the champion, yep. Yeah, it can often be a total lack of atmosphere.
Mm.
Thankfully, we have good atmosphere here. So Stephen on the button, Sergey's on the button with 9-6 suited. Folded 9 deuce suited last time, but 9-6 is obviously a better hand. He calls. Stephen has flopped a pair, a gut shot for Sergey. Stephen checks, as you'd expect him to do a lot of the time, out of position. Sergey now has to decide whether to bet his gut shot or not.
Let's take a free card.
He decides, no, I'm going to bet this. This isn't going to get through this time because, as we can see, Stephen has a pair.
But Stephen can't be raising here either, and does show a sign of strength from Sergey.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what cards he keeps barreling on. Obviously, the 7 is the gin card, but Jack improves him to a certain extent, to a large extent as well. Would make him open-ended.
So let's see a Jack to make it interesting.
No.
And now Stephen has to feel he's most likely good here. Obviously, Sergey can still have a king for trips, but it's much less likely
Much
that he
less
has
likely.
one.
We can see 2 of the kings out there, so it's gone from the possibility of there being 3 kings in Sergey's hand to only 2 kings being left. So it's 33% less likely there's a king in Sergey's hand. He's thinking about betting again. Looks like he's going for it.
Double barrel seems very strong, actually, because we haven't seen him do it in a while.
Yeah.
And Stephen may be recognizing the patterns that he hasn't done in a while, but he might also realize that Sergey knows that he's thinking that he hasn't done it in a while, and go on to level by level by level, and then come back to level number 1. I have a 10. You probably don't have a king, and I will call.
Stephen has second pair here, and it's actually much stronger than most second pairs because of the fact that the top card is paired. So it's a totally standard call.
And the fact that also Sergey can have diamonds that he's betting on, also like 7-9 kind of hands.
If Sergey does pull fire the third shell, that's where Stephen starts having to think about it. The 4 is a pretty innocuous card, though.
How much heart would it be for him to just jam it? It is 1 SPR in his stack.
Yeah, it would be just over pot.
And if he fires river, what is Stephen going to do? I mean, we probably won't know either because it doesn't look like Sergey's grabbing all his chips.
I don't think Stephen would always call or always fold. He'll think about it. In this spot, he knows he definitely doesn't have the best hand now, so he just has to decide whether he can get the bluff through or not. When you're trying to decide whether to bluff or not in these spots, it's good the fact that he has no diamonds in his hand, because the hands he wants Stephen to have are flush draws, which have 2 diamonds, and because he has no diamonds, that makes it more likely.
He's looking at it.
Yeah, he certainly is.
And he's counting his stack.
Of course, he doesn't have to shove either. He can also just bet a smaller amount.
Does he empty?
I think if he bets small here, he's pretty much always getting called, but depends on the bet size now.
Rather big bet. Not a jam, but this may even look stronger than a jam.
12 mil.
Yeah, this is a tricky decision now for Stephen. He's going to have to think about this one. $12 million to call. He's getting about 3 to 1.
And he announces call.
Yeah, his hand is just too strong there. If the river had been scarier, like higher than a 10, then it was more likely to work. But the river was just too innocuous.
And the Viking now, the first player over 100 million in chips, has a huge chip advantage, 104 million to just the 13 million that Sergey has.
6.5 bigs.
Just 6.5 bigs. So Unless we see a double up soon, this could be over before you know it. Anything can happen, though. We've seen chip in the chair stories before. This is a few more than just a chip in a chair. But coming back against a man like Steven Van Zittelhoff will be difficult.
Yeah, he's basically in shove or fold mode now. Both players are playing effectively 6 big blinds because that's Sergei's stack. 2.5 of those blinds are going in every 2 hands, so he will be all in the next few hands.
All it takes is a double up or two, though, and then it's a whole new ball game.
Totally.
Back to where we were. But he is huge.
The bad news for him is he is now the big blind as well, so he's actually putting in a third of his stack this hand.
Which means he should be calling off a very wide range. Oh, my.
Look at this.
Big slick.
Yeah, this is...
I'm all in.
Yeah.
All in for
Put the pressure on.
and 5 million, please.
Yeah. Stephen will be all in here.
Or just bet 10 million, which is the
exactly
same.
what he just said.
All in.
And a call.
Queen 9 is a
This could be it, folks.
First, all in and a call for the title.
This could be it. Stephen, a 2-1 favorite in the hand.
Do we have a Battle of Malta champion? It's over to the dealer.
We hear Stephen's rail, rooting him on. A diamond out of the window.
That's not any help.
So far, so good for Stephen.
Yep, he needs to fade a queen and 9 running straight cards. And we have a champ.
Just fade those 6 outs. Oh, we have someone yelling for the queen of clubs. 6 of spades is
Gut
a
shot.
safe card, but it provides a gut shot, as Dara pointed out.
An 8, a 9, or a queen.
Up to 10 outs.
Will it be blank?
Oh,
my!
He's hit it doubled.
We're right back where we were.
Yep.
1 card away from being crowned the champion. And the queen of diamonds hits the river.
Such a river. Sorry, Dutch fans watching. We know that there are more of you than there are of Sergei fans. Sergei, though, back into it. You've shown a lot of heart. Not too many people would have had this long of a heads-up battle against Stephen.
And now he's back in it.
Stephen showing great attitude there, smiling immediately once the queen hits. He's far too experienced to let this bother him. He's just going to get settled down, play the new situation.
It isn't the worst beat in the world, actually. Queen 9 should be calling there, even if the stacks are bigger.
It's not even a bad beat in the traditional sense of the word. Bad beat originally meant that the other player shouldn't even be in the pot. But Queen 9 is a standard call off when you've got 6 big blinds.
And then even the run out, you say 2-1 favorite. Well,
2-1 favorite, yes.
roll a dice, you're going to be wrong 2 out of the 6 times. You know, it's how it is.
Yeah.
Betting second, third. It's betting the second 12 and the third 12 on the roulette wheel. Same idea. It often comes in the first 12. However you want to look at it. Any one hand is a gamble. The skill is in the long-term play.
So,
On we go.
back to where we were 20 minutes ago. And half an hour ago.
Sergei.
Maybe 3 hours ago.
And an hour ago.
Sergei has been folding these types of hands on the button, and he does so again. And good timing this time because he would have run
Oh
into
my
queens.
word.
Stephen laughing.
Wow.
Oh my word.
Shows
Oh.
him.
Yeah.
Getting a good laugh, though. I think that was more for the rail to get a laugh than it was for anything else. Might as well provide a little bit of entertainment at this point in time. He does have a lot of fans back there. We have Mad Harper pulling a seat back. I'm not sure if she wants to join us or if she just wants to watch on the big screen. No, Mad is joining in. Mad with some facts. Tower, why don't you you join in? I do, but Tower's been breaking for everybody.
So there's musical chairs going on behind me. We're going to be joined by Mad in the booth. Tara's shifted over to the Jason seat, and we have Mad in the other seat.
Hello, Mad.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good actually. So Phil,
Yes.
do I call you Phil or do I say hi the tower?
That'll do.
Oh, do people actually say that?
There's nobody calls me Philip or Philip or
Oh,
Phil.
okay.
At all.
I'll stop doing that then.
What does it feel like to be the first entrance of 2020 Battle of
Oh,
Malta?
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Ah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm actually registered. I guess I am.
I should think.
hope they've written my name down.
Yes.
Yeah, Bomb 2020.
Winner.
Yeah, I
I'll tell you
can't
what.
wait because
You-
this really is one of my favourite places.
Did we ever find out how many nationalities have played this event?
No.
Because me and Jason went to a line and we thought we'd be pretty close.
Yeah, it was
But,
hard. We did manage to capture nationalities
Mhm.
for every player.
Yeah.
But I reckon it was about 40, 50 countries.
Yeah.
You know, some of them we've only got like one player. We
Yes.
had a guy from South Korea
Wow.
who went out in. Did he go out?
I think he was on the. I think
or
he was actually on the
11th or-
feature table
Yeah.
in seat
Yeah,
number 1. I do remember.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's great having people from all
Mm.
over the world come to Malta. It's fantastic.
It's an event, and obviously part of the. What is your official title?
Media coordinator.
Media coordinator. How have the media been for you this week?
Really, really badly behaved. It's been quite a struggle actually to keep them under control. You know, they love Malta. They want to go out partying. No, the media work so hard. It's unbelievable.
They are.
Like, they put in phenomenal hours here.
They are here when everybody leaves, putting
Yeah.
the chip counts up, counting the
Absolutely,
chip
like
counts.
that. Tonight, when this actually ends,
We have a call, and we have
Oh,
another
oh,
call
oh,
straight
oh.
over to the table because this could be it. But
Sergey is
favourite.
ahead.
big favourite is the all-in play, and that's Sergey. And we could end up being back to 39 million against 70 million because that is a great flop for Sergey with the ace. Oh, sorry, with the queens. He needs to fade an ace, basically.
Yep. Or running clubs or running straight cards.
That's
That
one of them.
is one of the running straight cards.
Oh,
So an 8 or an ace.
it's never easy.
No.
If we get an 8 or we get an ace, we have a champion. Other than that, we are back in the game. The river is a 9. It's the wrong card for Stephen. And back in the game, up to just under 40 million, is Sergey Lassie.
Lisi,
Wow.
Lisi,
Lisi.
I think. Yeah.
L-I-S-A-I-I-I-I.
Okay, we've had this massive query about just how many letter I's he gets in his name, and
Yep.
we're settled officially on 3.
3.
L-I-S-I-I.
Excellent.
Yeah. It's been a debate.
Wowzers. So queens for Sergey. He gets himself back up to just under 40 mil. It's 78 versus 39. Back to the 2-1. Back to where we were 3 hours ago. Is there
Say that with more enthusiasm.
is there any overtime offered?
Oh yeah, no, I'm on massive. I think I'm on Fraser McIntyre. Am I on triple overtime? I believe I am. We'll discuss that later.
At least we're on a 30-minute clock now. So
Well, yes. But we do think he'll finish at 150, 3 million, sorry. 1.5 mil, 3 million. That will be 20 bigs each.
I'm quite impressed by Sergey Lisi. He just seems like a real cool as a cucumber.
What's the
character.
feeling? What's the
Yeah.
feeling in the room knowing there's a guy that lives in Malta on the final table as well?
Well,
in Stephen.
yeah, obviously
Very
he's
well
got a
known.
rail here, enthusiastic. But I think also people have been really impressed with the way Sergey, even though they haven't come across this guy before, he's
Yeah.
living in Sochi. No massive results compared to Stephen, but I think people have been impressed by the way he's playing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so calm and cool.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is
he's very
mega.
deliberate in all
Yeah,
of his
this
decisions.
is like a mega. And he's, he's not, doesn't seem ruffled at all.
Yeah, at the last break, they went to. They counted the stacks, and they were exactly the same. So they chopped the money and left 30,000 euros to play for. So 217,000 euros and change locked up, and 30,000 to play for on the title, and forever be immortalised as a Battle of Malta 2019 champion, which also is the biggest Battle of Malta ever.
Also, I don't know if you've mentioned this. Obviously, for Sergei, this is going to be a best live cash by
Yes.
miles.
Yep.
Whatever happens, he's 4 or 5 times his total live winnings to date. But interestingly, this is also going to be Stephen's best live cash.
Oh, wow.
Whether he wins or not.
Nice.
He had an amazing result in Barcelona in the summer,
Mhm.
209, I think it was. But this is locked up 217,000. So,
That works.
yeah, he's looking at a best live cash too.
And an online crusher as well. He's good looking. He's got the muscles.
He's a total.
What's
He's a
just-
hunk. He's a hunk.
Why-
I mean,
why-
he does spend. Did you know that Stephen lives here? I'm
Mhm.
sure you've mentioned that. He lives about 4 minutes from this hotel, but his gym
Mhm.
is actually in this building.
Is it?
And you just need to look at Stephen
Yes.
to know just how much
He
time
is a fine
spends in it.
specimen of
I
a
mean,
man.
Yeah, he says he's 6% off
Mm.
the 1,000 club, which is something to do with how much you can lift.
Wow.
He tried lifting me earlier. You know, couldn't manage it, but yeah, whatever. But he's 6% off, and his gym is in this building.
Fantastic.
So he's here constantly. Look at those muscles. It is, I mean, it's impressive. Dara,
It is very
what do you
impressive.
reckon?
It's extraordinarily impressive, yeah.
A fine specimen, a good poker player. He's got millions in the bank because of the online earnings. Well, why? Somebody's got it. Share some love, man. Share some.
I nagged Stephen to enter this event.
Really?
Right, yeah, I've known Stephen for a long time. And last year I knew I was coming here to Battle of Malta. And I was like, oh, Stephen, you're going to play it? And he was like, oh, no, it clashes with something else. I can't remember what it was. Something. I think it might have been something in Canada. Anyway, he wasn't here. So, like this year, about 3 months ago, when I'm trawling around trying to find which big names are going to come so I can write a story, and I'm like, are you going to be here? Oh, yeah, I think so. But I don't know. I can't confirm. And I'm like, come on, are you going to play it or not? And I've been nagging him to play it. So, here he is, you know. Dara, if I ever tell you to play something,
I'm now waiting. I'm now
Yeah.
waiting for the Mads invitation. Seems like that's guaranteed success.
absolutely.
It works. Guaranteed success. Heads up in the Battle of Malta. 217,000 euros locked up, and an extra 30,000 to the eventual winner.
And those swords.
Oh, the trophies
my
are
God,
awesome.
The swords.
The trophies are awesome.
I mean, the Vikings should win the swords, right?
That seems reasonable, yeah.
Well, Sergei will have something to say about that. So we've been heads up for 3 hours.
Really?
Yeah,
It's gone so quickly.
it has. It has.
It's just flown by.
It has been a fantastic tournament from start to finish.
Yeah. The room looks good.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah,
it
the room looks
just
amazing.
looks glamorous, spectacular. I love the room.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And on the day 1D, when every single chair was in use, incredible.
Yeah. It's a really, really great venue. And the media, the media are very, very picky about venues.
Mm.
You know, they'll complain about anything really.
Yeah.
And this is just a great place to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great place to play poker, but it's also a great place to report on poker.
And also all the package winners.
Yeah.
Upstairs, yes please.
Yeah.
Rooftop pool,
Yeah,
all three.
MPM Poker Tour
Mhm.
had 270 qualifiers here.
Fabulous.
It's just a fabulous amount. I think they took over the entire
Hmm.
Holiday Inn Express Hotel.
And we're off to Madrid in February.
I know, so exciting.
Yeah. Exciting and a little bit of sadness
Yeah.
thrown in there as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
obviously.
Are you
With the
going?
final one. Fingers
Coming?
crossed.
Yeah.
I hope the invite will be there, Matt.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, no, I'm at the same stage as you. I mean, I hope I'm going.
Absolutely.
I think I'm going.
It would be nice. But no, the final event of the MPMP Tour, the final event ever.
Yeah, it's so
It's
sad.
it is sad.
Please
It
don't
is.
even talk about it.
It's built and built and built, and we've ended up with 4,657 runners here in Malta. Do you now think it's going to be two hands colliding? Now we've gone to
Now we're
80,
now we're going
40.
so deep, yeah, and
Yeah.
and Sergey has been playing very cautiously, so
Mm.
he's not likely to do anything too rash.
Before he got a chance to put the chips in the middle, Stephen had already passed the cards to the dealer as a
Yeah.
winner.
Yeah, Stephen is the more aggressive
Yeah.
of the two, and therefore he tends to chip the other guy down in the sort of quieter periods. But as we saw with the two double ups, anything can happen heads up.
So just remind me, the denominations are orange are
Orange
Tower.
are 100,000s and the greens are 250,000s. We were half expecting a million chip, but we didn't get one.
oh really?
No, but the stacks are pretty.
Okay, so
Enormous.
I'm
They
not
look-
going to name names, but there's a blogger here who's colourblind,
Okay.
and you know with colour blindness that it's red green,
Yes.
especially for guys,
That's
that,
me.
that gets muddled
Yeah,
up.
I'm
That's me.
colorblind as well.
He has no idea what colour these chips are.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. That's why when you looked at me,
Can
I
you
looked at you
tell
blankly.
actually?
I am completely color. No, I'm color. I
So
can't tell any
those look
difference.
the same.
They
to
look
you?
the same to me. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah. It's red green, and also it's a male
Well,
thing.
yeah. It's
Like women,
yeah.
it's very rare in
I'm
women.
partially colourblind because I can't see red, green, or blue on paper if they're joined in together on dots. And you have a look at the number. Can you tell me what number there is? So the numbers,
Dara, what's he talking about?
and I can't see. I can't
What
make
dots? What's he on about? It's time for the tower to take a break.
it. Well, maybe. Back to the bar.
Yeah,
so
the cr-
actually, Dara, seriously, can you? Do those look different to you?
no, they look the same.
Well, that's something for
Well-
tournament organisers to think about. 1/3 of men are colourblind,
to me.
and
1/3 is it that high?
something
wow.
like that.
Yeah,
Okay,
I do
might
know.